daily news show that deals only with economics. My name is Tom Tucker, and today we go back to the 12th of September 2009 to remember Dominic Brunner as a well-known German hero from Stuttgart. He sacrificed his life to help 4 young teenagers he hardly knew. Through events like this, it becomes clear that the police force is not powerful enough to achieve the desire of efficiency. Police force regulates our society nowadays and is an important aspect in combating criminality. There are many examples of how criminality shows up and gets defeated by everyday security. If criminal incidents take place as often as we get to see them, there must be something wrong going on with the combating techniques. An effective police force is a good way to combat the visible signs of criminality. But the actual problem lies much deeper. Poverty induced by suboptimal economic standards and unemployment. Today, in our studio in Frankfurt, 2 leading economists of the world will discuss their opinion of tackling criminality. Let me introduce to you Dr. Dean Simmons, a believer in the neoclassical philosophy and who strongly believes in minimizing the level of unemployment as the most productive way to defeat criminality. And Professor Ollie Williams, an economist who places a lot of emphasis on the education of our youngest.
Good evening, Mr. Tucker, and I'm very glad to be here tonight. When analyzing unemployment, one must differentiate between equilibrium and disequilibrium unemployment. Equilibrium unemployment occurs when the labor market is in its natural state, and disequilibrium unemployment occurs when there are certain conditions that prevent the labor market from reaching its optimal state. Ollie, equilibrium unemployment occurs in 3 types of unemployment, for example: frictional unemployment, seasonal, and structural unemployment. Frictional unemployment occurs when people are in between 2 jobs or have just finished university and are just about to take up their first job. Seasonal unemployment occurs due to seasonal fluctuations in the demand for a certain type of labor. For example, due to the weather, there will be no need for a surfing trainer in France in the winter. The structural unemployment, the most dangerous type of unemployment, occurs when there is a permanent decrease in the demand for a certain type of labor. For example, when a company moves its production facility to another country where the cost of production are cheaper. Disequilibrium unemployment occurs when there are conditions that prevent the labor market from reaching its optimal state. This involves demand-efficient unemployment, when there is a cyclical deficiency of demand because the economy is in recession. Real wage unemployment occurs when trade unions negotiate wages that are over the optimum level for firms and the production costs increase. Hence there will be a lower demand for labor and the company will produce less and employ a lesser amount of people. The ways of tackling the different types of unemployment, Ollie, are manifold. Disequilibrium unemployment occurs when there are certain barriers within the economy. These simply need to be abolished according to the market-oriented philosophy. By reducing trade union power, for example, one can't avoid real wage unemployment, as you don't seem to know, Mr. Williams. Equilibrium unemployment can be combated with interventionist policies. Seasonal unemployment can be tackled by investment into your occupational flexibility, a fact that you do not seem to realize, Mr. Williams. A surf trainer can learn to be a ski trainer, for example, and then he can take up a job in summer and in winter. Frictional unemployment can be avoided by optimization of the job agencies, which reduces the placement time of job seekers, and structural unemployment can be reduced by subsidies that encourage the domestic production. You see, Mr. Williams, there are good ways to avoid unemployment in any case. Thank you.
You are back with Tom Tucker. Here are some statistical data about literacy rates and unemployment rates. On this map, you see the literacy rates in countries all over the world. High literacy rates are reflected by a dark shade of blue. Take a look at it. Switching over to this map, you see that those countries that have high literacy rates have low unemployment rate, which is reflected by a light shade of blue.
I say that education takes away a person's drive to practice criminality. A low education is also a long-term problem. A poor education denies the chance of having a successful career. As more and more people have a good education, it benefits the nation itself as the literacy rate rises. In fact, one of the Millennium Development Goals was to ensure that by 2015, children all over the world will be able to complete a full course of primary education. When countries try to raise their level of education, it eliminates or even reduces the weight that the barrier of education puts on economic development. Although education has risen on an international level, Still, about 80% of children in areas like Africa or Southern Asia still are not going to school. In Germany or Switzerland, children are not required to work, and therefore they can attend school without a massive level of opportunity cost that outweighs the importance of education in the short run. Many children are required by the parents to work at home, on the fields or in factories to help provide the family with money. Many parents cannot value the importance of education and therefore do not send their children to school. Education of women and their rights. Many nations worldwide still see women as inferior to males and are therefore not allowed to attend schooling. These countries' literacy rates are strongly affected by this, as the literacy rate is split into half. It results in women working at home as they cannot find employment outside. It also increases the rate of unemployment. These problems are mostly found in third world nations where poverty still reigns. However, it is exactly these countries which need the education to leave their state of having a third world reputation. Education also has other effects. When countries have a higher literacy rate, it leads to social change. People are now able to communicate better, and debates and discussions are now possible. Education changes attitude. A person in a developed country is more likely to be happy with a good education, as he does not have to struggle much in life. Therefore, they can not only help the economy with skills, but also with a positive attitude towards work and their employment. As the amount of education in an economy increases, health standards also improve, as educated people learn more about hygiene and can take better care of themselves, and therefore it leads to a higher life expectancy. Therefore, if a government invests into education, it is a strong benefit in the long run.
To conclude, the death of Dominic Brunner could have been avoided if Germany would have invested into education. Criminality would no longer shake our civilization to its core if people would have been better educated, and the economy would have been more successful. However, the policy of education would have had to be applied some years before the death of Mr. Brunner, because the benefits of investment into education show out on the long run. This was all from me for today, and a special thanks to our guest speakers, Dr. Dean Simmons and Professor Ollie Williams. For more economic news, tune in for Econoday tomorrow.